Hey Melissa, welcome to the GAC RMHC Golf Classic. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play on through. We'll put you back in your dress position and we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your setup, let's take a look at your posture. Now your spine's nice and straight. It's on a subtle tilt, but it is too vertical. Your legs come down into somewhat of an unlocked position, then you hold your arms out in front, and then the golf club works out to the ball. So if I were going to work on your golf game and we were going to deal with your posture, what we would do here is we would push your tail out and up, push your sternum out, up, and forward. And ultimately what that's going to do is just going to increase the angle to your spine. We want to get your legs into a little bit more of an unlocked position, not to the point where you're bending and sitting, but definitely more unlocked. And then from here, off your tilted spine, we want to let your arms hang down more naturally so your hands are closer to your thighs. And we need to increase the angle relationship between your forearms and the golf club. So this sort of position in here. Okay? So we need to redefine your entire starting position with respect to your posture. So very, very important. From here, I mean, we can take a look at your alignment as well. We see your feet are aiming a little bit out to the right, so you're in a slightly closed stance. So if I draw a line along your toes, carry that out towards the fairway. Theoretically, your club face is supposed to run parallel to your feet. Parallel lines on camera will appear to converge. And so we can see there as that happens that you're set up to sort of hit the golf ball right at sort of the corner of that body of water. Okay, so we're a little misaligned. We want to get our feet running a little bit more parallel left to the center of the fairway. Let's go ahead and do a little split screen comparison between you and Chella Choi. Now we've got some color-coded lines up on the screen to use as a visual reference as it pertains to swing playing. I've put two red lines on your screen, labeled 1 and 2. 1 is your original address plane, so that's a line over the club shaft at address where you are right now. But if we revised your posture, got your spine tilted over more, and then your arms hanging so your hands are closer to your thighs and a little closer down to your kneecaps, then we really want to look at how does the golf club swing relative to line number 2. Okay? So clearly we can see a very different setup with respect to posture as I was getting at. As we go ahead and watch the golf swing here, we simply want to draw the golf club back by turning your shoulders, moving the arms and hands back as well as the club. And we want to see the club coming back along the red line. So the club's coming back on plane. From here we need to incorporate some wrist hinge into play. So we're going to transition the club head from being below and in front of our hands to being above and behind our hands, as we can see there. So that's done through wrist hinge. Then from here we're going to work the golf club from red up to the yellow-blue V zone. When we finally set the golf club at the top of the backswing, we want to see the left arm and the golf club situated on the yellow line. We also want to have full shoulder rotation, and we want to do this about a very stable right leg. So with your backswing, let's just go ahead and watch you bring the club back. So you draw your hands back nicely. Shoulders are turning a little bit here. We can see that you're not really creating wrist hinge at all. So we're maintaining a really stiff forearm wrist position with the club shaft. And the club head isn't really working around us at all and getting back on the plane. So let's see if we get a little bit of hinge and then lay the club head off towards the back here. So get a little bit of hinge, there we go, so the club's starting to work behind your hand, so that's good. And when we finally get to the top of the backswing, what we want to see is, do we have full shoulder rotation? So the shoulder rotation's pretty good here. Arm geometry relative to your core staying in a pretty good position. But again, we're doing this off of a starting posture that was just too vertical and too tall. So as we create our transition back in the ball, simply want to move our weight from our right foot to our left. We want to fire the knees and the hips to the target. Laterally, we want to unwind the core and we want to fire the hands. And in doing so, we want to make sure that we're bringing the golf club from this yellow line back down on top of red, which is where the club originated. And that's exactly what we can see here with Chelichoy, the golf club is returning right back to being on plane. The other thing we want to observe at this stage of the golf swing is the relationship between the lead forearm and the golf club. I refer to this as the backwards check mark. Simply means the club head right now is remaining above and behind our hands coming into the hitting zone, and this is going to allow us to create a lot of power in our golf swing, let alone the ability to hit the ball straight due to the fact that the club, again, as we've already noted, has returned back to plane, which is a main criteria in being able to produce straight golf shots. So let's watch you create your transition back into the ball. You drop your hands very nicely there initially, coming a little bit out in front of you there. So at this point in time, I mean, we can take a look at the lead forearm and your golf club and basically say, hey, you know what, we've got our backwards check mark. So creating some power in the golf swing won't be that much of an issue. Other thing we see is based on line 1, your club has also returned back to plane like what we see with Chelichoy. Only thing is that it really should be returning to here because that's really the actual plane that the club should be coming into the ball from. Let's go ahead and go to the next frame, see where this falls. So a club falls down into here. So club's approaching the ball just a little bit from the outside. We get back to the ball here, and the club's just moving on a subtle path from out to in. We can see here with Chelichoy that our golf club simply comes into the golf ball pretty much directly from the red line, or actually slightly underneath in her case. And this is going to produce a fairly straight shot in accordance to her alignment, assuming that the club face squares up. So at this point in time, we can really take a look at the pass of the club. Chella's club is inside the ball before she strikes it, expands out to make contact, moves through in a nice natural subtle arc. Your club's a little bit outside the ball, dropping down and across, so we're trying to pull the ball a little bit back to the left, which is the compensation for the fact that we're aiming out to the right. So very simply put, if we happen to square the club face up to that path, the nice thing is we can pull the ball right back towards the intended target and not lose the ball out towards the water where we had originally stated that your aim sort of out here. Okay. Now if we happen to over-release the club to this swing path, not only will we pull the ball back online, but then we'd end up hitting a little bit of a pull draw or a pull hook. If we leave the club face too open to the path, then we block the ball too far right. Obviously, you know, when we're swinging the club along a yellow path, if we start the ball that far right, then the club face was massively open, and we're going to hit some form of a block slice. And if we time it properly, then we can hit what I refer to as either a pull straight shot that, you know, stays on line, or maybe it just has a little bit of a pull fade, or maybe a little bit of a pull draw, and none of those three shots are going to hurt you at all. But it really does come down to timing of the club face. If we over-release the club, it follows yellow. Under-release the club follows red. And if we time it properly, it'll follow blue and then obviously stay towards the yellow flag that we've drawn on the screen. As we come through the golf shot, let's just check out Chelichoy here. She comes off her right heel at point of impact. Then she carries that right heel right up off the ground, up onto the toe of her right foot. But the toe doesn't come off the ground, and we don't create sort of a little dancing step. We get up on the toe, and then we can count all the spikes in the shoe. So all our weight gets to our left side, hips square around, shoulders fully rotate, the hands are nice and high. With you, we get a little bit of a sliding action with your foot there. So you sort of slide your foot and then almost get up on the toe, and then you spin out on your left foot, and then you actually end up taking a step with your left foot out of the shot. So definitely need to learn how to create proper footwork. When we swing back into the ball, just simply bring your right heel off the ground, get up on the toe of the right foot, put all your weight on your left side. Don't spin out and take a step. Okay? So definitely want to learn that footwork through to the finish, because what it's going to do, it's going to aesthetically make your golf swing look a lot better. You'll be a lot more in balance. It'll be a lot more natural for sure. Okay? So definitely learn how to create that footwork. Beyond that, we'd really like to improve your posture for sure. The overall golf swing is not too bad. I mean, you come back, you get okay wrist hinge. You're a little stiff-wristed with the golf club. We like to swing it around just a little bit more with a little bit more wrist hinge. But if you set up in a better posture with your hands a little lower and closer to your thighs, you're already increasing that angle, so you're going to help yourself create better wrist hinge to begin with. So yeah, improve that posture. Swing the club around you with more wrist hinge, and then learn just how to swing through with proper footwork to get yourself into a better finishing position would be ideal. Okay? Anyways, if at any point in time you ever want to work on any of these aspects, I'm over at Glen Abbey in Oakville. I'd be happy to structure a little program for you. Also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments at all and you guys are looking for a unique gift to provide to your guests, touch base. I'd be happy to discuss my swing analysis services. Again, I hope you had a fantastic day, and I hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video. Take care.